morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at the best new decks from Champions Path. Now, this is weird to me, ladies and gentlemen. You see, a couple of days ago, and Champions Path is either just coming out or just about to come out, depending on when this actually gets uploaded. As I'm recording, this should be dropping the day before it releases. That is to say, hey, it's out tomorrow, but we never know if the video is going to get bumped for other stuff. These things happen. It's unavoidable. I mean, it's all in my decision, but I might not want to avoid it. Anyway, the point is that even though in my top 10 of Champions Path, I told you that it was overall a weaker set, especially in terms of playability, though a cool set for collectors. And let's be clear, I'm going to buy a bunch of this, all right? I'm a sucker, and I make no apologies for that. Get ready for some openings tomorrow. Work just told me I don't need to work Friday. How cool is that? Yeah, I'm just going to get up, get ready, and just drive to go and get Champions Path, and then just come home and open it on camera. It's going to be fun. But my point is, even though it is a weaker set in terms of playability, and the top 10 is unimpressive compared to a bunch, we've actually got multiple decks which are coming around purely on the basis of this set. How weird and cool is that? So, as far as I'm concerned, there are 4 decks that are really coming around purely on the basis of this. And I'm going to start off with my favourite, but probably the weakest of them. It's Wailord. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there is a Wailord in this set. And I adore this Wailord. You see, this Wailord's got 280 HP. It is, quite frankly, a redonkulous HP Wailord. And I love it. And that alone makes you want to play it. Remember, the Wailord EX had 250 HP, gave up 2 prizes, and people legitimately played that in a deck by itself because it was so big you couldn't one-hit KO and then they'd heal, etc. We're not in the same format we were then. Now, so that strategy won't really work. There's too many things that can one-hit KO it. But that doesn't mean you can't make a really cool deck with Wailord. You see, for 4 energy, you flip 3 coins, doing 120 damage for each heads. And that means that if you use Glimwood Tangle, that is the new stadium that lets you reflip coins for an attack, if you don't get what you like. But it's all or nothing. You can either reflip all 3 or none of the 3. That is it. You cannot pick and choose. But essentially, Glimwood Tangle lets you, most of the time, you should be hitting 240. And 240 is a lot of damage. 240 will easily get yourself Center Scorch, one of the best decks in the format right now. It will get you Pikachu and Zekrom, one of the best decks in the format right now. And it will get pretty much anything that is a Pokemon V or GX, but not VMAXs or tag teams. But if you push it, you might hit 3 heads, and if you hit 3 heads, then you're hitting 360, and stuff like Eternatus VMAX with 340 HP is going down. How do we get the energy on? We got a bunch of ways. The first attack legitimately just lets you attach free water energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So essentially what you do is try and discard them early, and we got cards like Dedenne that will discard your hand and draw more, and Professor's Research, which will discard your hand and draw more. And then we've got Quick Ball, which will discard a card from your hand to search out a basic Pokemon, which you can make it an energy. You see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? The point I'm making is we can get the energy in the discard early, so you go second, turn 1, you should have the 4 energy on Wailord. And when you've got the 4 energy onto Wailord, and then you're ready to smash from next turn. And the attack on Wailord is good. For a 2-prize Pokemon, this is a very, very strong attack. And that is absolutely wonderful and brilliant, and we love it. The other way to get the energy on is, of course, to play it with Frostmoth. Lets you attach as many water energy as you like to your benched water Pokemon, but they've got to be benched, so you've got to do this on the bench. It's a basic non-GX Pokemon, so Turbo Patch, flip a coin if heads, attach an energy. And honestly, with Wailord, you need Glimwood Tangle to reflip, Frostmoth, Turbo Patch, etc. to accelerate energy, and then you probably muck about with stuff like Mallow and Lana, and just start healing up. Because I know we've got a bunch of stuff that can one-hit KO Wailord, but there's very little that can just easily one-hit KO Wailord. So then you do play the healing game that we did with the old Wailord, but you don't just play the healing game, you also play the attacking game. I'm in love with this deck, I want it to be great. Now, one that has a much better chance of being great is Alcremie V Max. Now, the Alcremie V itself is largely underwhelming. There is an attack for free energy that will stop the defending Pokemon attacking next turn if it's a basic, but it's for free energy, your opponent can switch out. I'm not loving it. But it's another energy-hungry Pokemon that might be worth it. For one colorless energy, each of your bench Pokemon gets a Psychic Energy from the deck, that's fine. But for 2 Psychic Energy, you do 60 damage for each energy discarded from each of your Pokemon, and you can discard as many as you like. So you've got the first attack, and you can use Turbo Patch if you like, which is nice. It's a Pokemon V Max, so you can use Rose to attach 2 energy from the discard, though you will discard your entire hand. Not the end of the world, but if you're playing Rose, you need something like Rose Tower, draw until you've got 3 cards in your hand, or Silvally, which lets you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand as an ability. You need something like that to be able to refill your hand afterwards. Now, this would have been a very obvious Malamar partner, but we don't have Malamar right now. So I think probably the best build at the moment is maybe Porygon Z. Now, Porygon Z from Unbroken Bonds lets you attach as many special energy from your hand to your Pokemon as you like during your turn. And the best one here is Recycle Energy, because when you discard it, it goes back to your hand. So you attach it with Porygon Z, discard it with Alcremie's attack, it goes to your hand, and next turn you just reattach it. You are then relying on a stage 2 to support you, which is awkward. And we don't love having a stage 2 and a VMAX in the same deck. But the fact of the matter is, if you put enough energy on your Pokemon, you can KO anything with Alcremie V Max. The only limit is the number of energy you're actually playing. And that's why I think Alcremie's got a chance. Honestly, I am not sure that we've actually got the best partner from Alcremie at the moment. I think if I'm playing Alcremie, I'm playing it with Porygon Z. But I can't promise you that is a top-tier powerhouse deck. Now, I can tell you that Alcremie has gone and done a win, so to speak. Now, it is a list. It's kind of an awkward list because it uses Zebstrika, which has rotated, and Celebi Amazing Rare, which isn't actually out yet. It's in the next set. It's in Vivid Voltage. But it uses Porygon Z, and it went and done a win in a little Japanese tournament, so... And I think I did do a video about it. I'll link it in the description. This is a deck to keep an eye on. Alcremie Porygon Z could be really good. But before I move on to the next deck, please bear in mind that Alcremie might not have found her best partner yet. So then the Alcremie deck we're all talking about might not even exist. So I'm going to keep an eye on. One that I think does have a chance with one gigantic caveat is Gardevoir V Max. Now, the gigantic caveat, as I'm sure you all know at this stage, is a weakness to Zacian. It's weak to metal, fine, we get it. The point is, not everyone's playing Zacian, and most Psychic Pokemon are actually weak to darkness. This just happens to be weak to metal, because Gardevoir is a fairy Pokemon in the video game, and now that fairy Pokemon don't exist in the TCG, it's come over with a weakness to metal being a Psychic type. And the thing is, if you're not being one-hit KO'd by Zacian, Gardevoir can be an absolute tank. Because, you see, the Pokemon V for free energy does 120, but if you were healed this turn, it does 200. 200 for free energy is really good. But the V Max does 180 for free energy and heals 50. Then we remember we've got that new Suspicious Can card, or Suspicious Food Tin, still not loving the name of that, which lets you discard a Psychic Energy to heal 80 damage from one of your Pokemon, i.e. you heal 80 from the Pokemon you discarded the energy from, not from a different one. So that's 130, but you've got stuff like Mallow and Lana, and actually, you could be healing a huge amount of damage here. And when you get to Gardevoir VMAX, 180, you'll KO most single prize Pokemon, and you'll 2-hit KO most 2 or 3 prize, well, all 2 or 3 prize Pokemon. Except the very few you'll 1-hit KO. So you'll get like the Dene and Crobat, but you'll get very few of them. But one of the important things to note here is your 2-hit KOing, while it is unlikely you're being 1-hit KO'd. And that can make an absolute difference here. Now again, we do need to think about the energy, and I'll be honest with you, it's largely what we talked about with Alcremie. We're talking Rose, we're talking Turbo Patch. They are the ones to go for. And I tell you what, someone's already gone and started winning tournaments in Japan with this. Again, I'll link that video in the description. And now they did use Rose with Silvally. Again, you can't just play Rose without something like Silvally, that would be bad. And there was Suspicious Can and Turbo Patch. But he also played it with Giant Bomb. If you would take 180 or more damage, you put 10 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And I actually played it with Crushing Hammer as well. So essentially here, you're punishing your opponent for attacking you for big damage. But if they don't hit you for big damage, you're going to heal it all off. And you're getting rid of their energy. And you're doing all the healing. So 180 every turn actually ends up being pretty good. Keep an eye on Gardevoir. I know it's got a bad weakness. We have acknowledged that. But the fact of the matter is, that is about the only thing about this I don't like. And I think this could end up being a whole bunch better. But I think if we're looking at the deck that has the most chance to be really, really good coming out of Champion's Path, it is Altaria stuff. You see, the fact of the matter is, I'm not entirely sure what the best build of Altaria is. But Altaria came number 1 on our top 10 list, spoiler alert. And Altaria, I believe, is going to end up being the best deck that comes out of this set. Because Altaria's got that ability that prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. It's like Decidueye, but it's a stage 1 and it can attack for a twin energy. So it's got tech ability coming out of the wazoo. And there are a bunch of different ways you can go with this. One that I am particularly fond of is playing the Greedent from Darkness Ablaze. And what you essentially do here is you do 100 damage and then Greedent and all the cards attached to it go into your hand. So the plan is you hit for 100 damage or more with Greedent, then Greedent flicks into your hand. You then go and put Altaria active, and then round and round we go. Could be very, very cool. Or you could play Altaria with Decidueye, so you've essentially got multiple Pokemon that go ahead and block your opponent. Or you could take Decidueye out of Obstagoon decks and just slide this one right in alongside it. Because at the moment we see Obstagoon Decidueye being a really genuinely good deck, and the theory is very simple. Obstagoon, when it attacks, blocks attacks next turn from basic Pokemon, and Decidueye blocks GXs and Vs. And most of the good Pokemon around are either basic or they are GXs and Vs. Well, this is basically the same thing, except now you've got a stage 1 and a stage 2, more consistent, and you've got easier attacks. I know that Decidueye's got a better attack, but I also know that it's for 2 energy attachments on a stage 2 rather than 1 energy attachment on a stage 1, so I'll let you be the judge of that. And maybe it's with Greedent, and maybe it's with Obstagoon, and maybe it's with Decidueye, or maybe it's with something else altogether. I mean, one of my favourite decks that I've seen coming out of Japan in the past few months is, and I hate saying this, but it was actually ADP Altaria. Because the theory essentially was, you use Altaria to buy time, you use ADP to be taking extra prizes, and then Altaria is taking multiple prizes off of these giant Pokemon, or extra prizes, that cannot go ahead and attack it. There are many different ways you can go with Altaria, but if this didn't start making an impact on the metagame at some point, I would frankly be rather surprised indeed. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the new decks that are going to be coming around from Champions Path, and for a smaller, less competitive set overall, it has an half brought in quite a nice list of nice playable decks. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I'd like to know what you think about these decks, whether you think I've missed any decks, and whether you think I've under or oversold some of the decks on this list. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.